Happy Sunday, my sweet Donna. All right, let's talk about where things are at for you and the goal of intentionally wanting to lose a little bit more of the body fat. Or the belly fat specifically is what you said. So obviously you're doing great with like getting your walks in and you're getting your workouts in and you're doing great in your nutrition. Like you're very consistent. Like you're hitting that 2,000 calories, you're hitting the 200 grams of protein, the fats and carbs like bounce a little bit. But of course, that has never been the priority. That's never been what we've been looking at. So that's not a concern to me in what we've been doing so far. And I love that you've been like so consistent into the fact that you're like, yeah, I feel great about the fact that I'm super organized in my protein, that I don't need to worry about it. Like I know I'm going to hit my 200 grams every day. Or like the lowest I think I saw you have was like 196 this week. Like 4 grams off. Like I'm not concerned about that. Excuse me. But you had said, like you've been feeling really busy and you want to get back on track with things. And I'm curious, or back to normal with things, what does that mean for you? Like, what does the normal mean for you and look like for you? Because right now, like you're looking solid in the data that I'm receiving, right? So where do you feel like for you that hasn't been as available? Or like that hasn't been as normal? I'm curious to know that for you. And okay, so obviously the sun is a hard one when there's like air quality warnings out and we can't be outside and you can't see the sun. Makes complete sense. I'm curious to know like when it's not as smoky, if we do this, like if you do the smoke, if you do the sunshine every day for a week, how much does that impact your sleep cycles and your circadian rhythm? I'd be curious to know that, especially like on your holidays. If you do that in August, if you're able to, do the morning sun, as long as the air quality, like the sun allows for it, you should still get some vitamin D, like some UVB rays or UVA rays, both from the sun in the morning, even through the smoke. But I mean, it all depends on how your lungs feel with being outside that morning. Okay. But I'd be curious to know, especially in August. I mean, I'd love for us to do it before then, but in August, because I know you have that big time block off, that how that will impact your circadian rhythms and your sleep cycles. And then going into your work week, how much that impacts things. That'd be something that I would like to recognize and understand a little bit better for you and for me. Getting through your work shifts. Yep. Okay. Understood. I got it. That makes complete sense as to like where your headspace is at. Now let's talk about body or belly fat specifically, because you're gaining muscle mass, but you're holding on to the belly fat. So first off, part of this is going to be hormonal, but I'm not going to say like, well, it's never going to go away, because that's not necessarily true. What I think we need to do now, because you are now I'm looking at your numbers and now things are climbing up just a little bit, which is the indication to me, okay, now we need to reverse down again. So reversing meaning like just dropping your calories slightly. And that'll be, but maintaining your protein. So hitting your 200 grams of protein and getting to 1,800 calories rather than the 2,000, because that's going to be more of that deficit. It's going to be a little bit less fats, a little bit less carbohydrates. And that would be the first thing that I'm thinking we should try, because that's where we were going with. We were trying to get your protein and your calories up until you hit that plateau / a little bit of a peak, and then we know it's time to drop down a little bit. So that's what I'd like to try coming into this week. If you want, of course, we can sit down and talk about this a little bit more in detail. Now, the reverse is going to be like, we're going to come down and it should drop your body fat down a little bit too, and still maintain your muscle mass because your protein is still up. So that's what it should do for you. This is not necessarily the thing that's super sustainable forever, because 1,800 calories is sustainable. It should be sustainable. It's like 1,600 calories that's a little less sustainable, because you're still living your life, right? So this should be pretty sustainable if we continue to drop down lower. We'll see how that feels for your body and how your body responds to that. That's kind of what my thoughts are, as well as I don't know what your thoughts are on swapping, not even permanently, but just as a trial, because you've noticed that like adding in Greek yogurt and adding in dairy again doesn't really work well for your guts and your inflammation. I'm wondering with your whey protein, because it is more of an inflammatory, like whey is just more inflammatory, it's dairy, right? What your thoughts would be on swapping that out for a different type of protein. Obviously there is vegan protein. I recommend the brand that I use, because it's like the least inflammatory. It's also the most bioavailable to digest and absorb. But there's also paleo protein, which is from beef protein. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds nasty. My husband's been using it. I've used it on occasion. And it's really great quality and it tastes amazing. It actually tastes really good in smoothies and stuff. And it's really good. So you can get like chocolate, vanilla, or unflavored from a place in Red Deer, the what's it called? Mortar and Pesto. And so it's a great quality and it's no inflammation either. So that's something else I would like to try, depending on how you feel about that. Which option you like to go with. Of course, I'm here to support you in either one, whichever is available or you were willing to try. Then I can help you get the right brands and all that kind of stuff. I'm happy to do that. But I think those would be our two things that we could try to bring down the belly fat, bring down the body fat, and still maintain the energy levels that you have, because that's a big factor. Let's keep your energy up. Let's keep your hormones supported. Keep your supplements going like you have been, like with your magnesium and all those beautiful things. And you had said to me before that you are still on a hormone therapy, correct? Remind me if I'm wrong in that. Because that shouldn't be impacting, your hormones should not be impacting you really too much then, because your hormones aren't dropping down. Like, remind me where you're at in your cycle, like in the sense of like menopause. Are you feeling like you're into like pre-menopause cycles, or are you in menopause, or are you still not in it because you still are on the hormone therapy? Fill me in on that when you get an opportunity. Again, we can sit down and have a chat this week if you'd like. If you'd prefer to do that instead, I'm more than happy to do that with you. But yeah, this is what my thoughts are. I'll drop your calories down. I'm going to put your full macro count into your calendar for this week, and then you can see what the goals are going to be for your protein, your carbs and your fats as well, and go from there. Because I think that you're more of a mesomorph body type, meaning that you build muscle mass really easily, you sustain it really easily, which was evident when you came back from surgery and you still looked shredded, that your muscle mass holds on pretty damn well, that fats is going to be the thing that's going to be a little bit more low than the carbohydrates, because that's just body type macronutrients. So we'll play with that a little bit, but let me know the details on what you think about the protein powder and what you think about the hormones aspect, and we'll go from there. All my love to you, and I'll talk to you very soon, my friend. And again, if you want to have a sit down chat this week, we can absolutely go through all those details in person. I'm happy to do that too, but I figured this way we could just like get the base work down. If you want to chat after your Wednesday class with me for a few minutes or like 20 minutes, we can absolutely do that too, and just make it work for you and your schedule. All my love. Talk to you soon.